Listen, maybe you've spent the past few weeks trying to think positive and kind of manifest your way out of this heavy sinking feeling. But things in your life just keep breaking down. We've all been there trying to exert our will so hard, innocently thinking that it's going to make things better. I'll just work harder. I'll just be better in my relationships. But no matter how hard you try to control these things, they seem to keep falling apart. But here's the truth that we might be missing. Trying to escape this falling away nature of awakening is exactly what's creating your suffering. And if you keep treating this like a problem to be fixed, you're going to trap yourself in a cycle of fear that strips you of the very growth that you've been praying for. This may not be a life crisis. On some level, yes, of course it is. But it's actually a specific season that's designed to strip you of the patterns that no longer serve you. So in this video, I'm going to show you which of the 4 seasons you are actually in so that you can finally stop fighting your reality and move towards the clarity and the stability that you're craving for that's waiting for you on the other side. But first, we need to talk about the most important thing anyone going through their spiritual awakening without proper support needs to know. Imagine learning to box without a trainer. And maybe you're a little bit like me, right? And you have a little bit of arrogance in your system. Maybe we think, I can punch. I feel pretty strong. I back myself. Only to get in the ring with somebody that's properly trained and realize maybe I forgot the most important thing about learning how to fight is being able to take the punches and keep going. See, a trainer is super helpful because they would teach me the tactics, right? They know where the punches are coming from because they've lived it. It doesn't really matter how you come into this path, whether it's through a spiritual experience or maybe you just got lucky and fell into it somehow. At the beginning, we're still fairly spiritually immature, which means we can really misunderstand things. The first time trouble comes, the first time we kind of get punched, it can floor us. So as we're going through a deep transformation where things are falling away, we can misinterpret these things as it going wrong, as a death, and on some level it is. But really, this is an absolutely necessary stage of learning for you to get to your next level. It's just like the real version of winter that we see in our lives. Things die off, but what comes next? Something new. So why is it then that we might be misunderstanding what's happening to us? Now, we've all heard of doom scrolling, and maybe this video actually interrupted you from it. But in the advent of AI content and the genuine mass hysteria that is the Western manifestation culture on spiritual YouTubes, the spiritual marketplace has become corrupt. We may even be so conditioned by it that we innocently believe that we can find a manifestation technique that's going to change this cycle, that can get me out of this hotspot that I'm in, isn't it? Because in all of that confusion, the truth, it does get lost. But truth can only be found by turning in and facing the challenges that you have in your life head on, because they are designed specifically for your soul's development. At a certain point, we may even begin to realize maybe I'm actually trying to escape or avoid that next level or that life lesson that life is trying to teach me. Because truly, the only way out is in. You can't change this cycle. We're just not understanding the context of deep transformation. And it happens in those seasons. And sure as night turns to day, summer turns to fall, turns to winter. So then that does beg the question though, doesn't it? Where are you in this process? Now, I've been on this path for over a decade now. And without fail, every time winter comes, I still want to hide behind the sofa, close my eyes and wait for the main character to get back on their feet again so that I can feel safe to continue to watch the rest of the thing. But we all know, isn't it? We are the main character in our journey. And we can't avoid the pain that leads to our growth. So life starts breaking things down in this death process, doesn't it? Maybe you don't see the results in your life that you were aiming for. Maybe your career or your relationships, they start to degrade or start to show signs of instability. And you may start working even harder, believing that you might be the problem rather than just being in a cycle. But oftentimes the way that we're living in these stages where we move towards a death process is out of alignment with who we're trying to become. Now, if this is resonating with you, then there is no doubt that you are in the fall or the winter phase of this cycle where things are beginning to collapse. Now, if that created a little bit of panic in you, chill out. All is well, because I'm going to teach you here what we can do to use our real control in the most constructive way, rather than trying to control the outside world. The biggest misconception about control is that it has anything to do with the circumstances of our life, the external of our life, the manifestation, isn't it? Have you heard of that saying? It's not what happens to you that matters. It's what you do with what happens that matters. But it's funny, isn't it? Because when you hear that, the ego's like, yeah, but I see everybody else having a nice life. Yeah. And I want to live my best life too. I want something good for me. But I just want you to understand that although it may not resonate with us on the deepest of levels, there is a fundamental truth in that principle. And it's about surrendering to the control that you really do have. And that control, the one that's really in your power, is to let go of the resistance that we have to this process, especially in these winter phases, because ultimately it's a necessary season in our path. And if we're honest with ourselves, as things begin to die and perhaps become reborn, they get reborn. In this phase, we may remember that as things were being sustained in our life, that we kind of wished for something a little bit new. Something was grating at us. Something was just a little bit out of alignment for us. I'm not saying that life's going to take everything away from you. It might be that you just need to look at certain beliefs inside of yourself and change the way that you're doing things so that it works better and flows better and keeps the energy flowing in your system a little bit better, which of course will then be of service to everybody. So why is this death phase necessary then? Well, to explain this, I want to introduce a teaching that my teacher gave me a very long time ago. He said this: for those who know the nature of night and day, surely don't need to worry about birth and death. You may find yourself in a death cycle right now or a winter, but this is exactly what your soul's evolution needs so that it can be reborn into something new. But it's only in hindsight you see the truth of why you needed that breakdown, isn't it? But if you surrender to the real control that you actually do have, which is stop resisting this process, then this can allow you to breed a very deep connection, a more richer connection with life. And just like the 4 seasons, isn't it? Life is only removing the leaves that are no longer serving us so that we can be barren for a little bit, so that some new leaves can come and we can plant a decent harvest here, and that can manifest in summer. But to have a good manifestation or a good harvest in summer, you have to have planted well in the spring. So is there something that I can do, that we can do to help this process along? And how long does this take? Because I might be stuck here and panicking. Listen, I know how it feels to feel like you're doing this wrong or that life is punishing you as things begin to break down. But to get to the next stage of your development, you will have to feel and let go of all of the things that are holding back. You'll have to drop the leaves. You've called this experience, if you're honest to yourself, to you because you know something in you. It just needs to shift. It's not satisfied currently. But by asking how long will this take? Well, what we're really asking ourselves is, will time do the work for me? Isn't it? And the answer is, yeah, but very, very, very slowly. So if time isn't really our best bet and relying on that, then what is? Well, the reason time isn't the best bet is because we are still going to have to feel all of those things that we've been avoiding. We're going to have to allow those identities to die, and they're still going to have to crumble, and it's still going to hurt. And maybe you aren't ready to feel all of that yet, but you can do something to speed up this process. And that is sadhana. Sadhana is just your daily spiritual practice. I imagine it like planting a seed is great, isn't it? But if you don't water it, it's never going to go anywhere. So the planting of the seed and the taking care of these seeds by giving it the right nutrients, this is what sadhana is for our spiritual journey. And I didn't want there to be any barriers to entry. I didn't want you to think that sadhana was somehow marketing. No, you need it for the path. And so it's free. It's on my channel. Go and give it a go. But if you did want a more in-depth dive, then you can sign up for free to my school, which will start you off at the Freedom Blueprint Level 0. And this will give you a much deeper understanding of the context of the spiritual path, and that will help you understand yourself a little bit more deeply. So now that we know how the 4 seasons of the awakening journey really work, it is true to say that we feel a little disempowered in this phase. And most of the time we're feeling disempowered because we don't really know how to let go. So in this next video right here, we're going to talk about the law of release and how it's going to help ease that transition between those seasons and make these death cycles a hell of a lot less scary, because they don't need to be. So you can watch that one right there.